Alors, Chapot, goodbye. This was James Cridland.
Alors là,
Chapot.
What I like about podcasting in comparison to radio is there's no gatekeepers. There's no one telling you that you can't do something. I was trying to tell my wife about this the other day because I was sent to boarding school when I was 8, which seems very early to me, given that we have a daughter who's age 12. I would like to have a small team, but that doesn't work in terms of how the business runs. So, and that's the problem that every small business owner has, for sure.
Alors là, Chapot. Un podcast audio et vidéo de
et avec Philippe Chapot.
Radio House. Hats off, the B2B podcast that salutes those who've shaped or are still shaping audio yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This week, let me tip my top hat to James Cridland. Hello.
Hello. Bonjour.
So after doing a bit of deep searching about you, here's what the internet has to say about James Cridland. James Cridland is a globally recognized expert in radio and podcasting, and someone who's been shaping the future of audio for over 3 decades. You're that old. Known as a self-proclaimed radio futurologist, he's the founder and editor of PodNews, the daily newsletter that's become the go-to source for the podcast industry. His story begins in a British boarding school where he ran a pirate radio station from his dormitory, an early sign of his do-it-yourself spirit. Fast forward to 1989, he's working at a small station in Yorkshire, lugging around a suitcase-sized mobile phone and slicing reel-to-reel tapes by hand. James was one of the first UK radio hosts to give out an email address on air. Do you still remember it?
I do.
Oh, incredible. A CompuServe string so long, even he jokes that no one ever remember it.
Correct.
In 1995, he coded his radio station's first website, because you're also a coder, years ahead of most broadcasters. In 2005, while head of digital at Virgin Radio, he launched the world's first mobile app for radio streaming, so ahead of its time that only 5 phones could use it. That same year, he also launched the UK's first daily podcast from a radio station and coined the term podvertising. 2 Webby Awards followed. He later joined the BBC, contributing to the BBC iPlayer for radio and helping develop UK Radio Player and the hybrid radio project Radio DNS. As a consultant, he's advised broadcasters from Canada to Australia and is deeply involved in Podcasting 2.0, promoting open, innovating features for audio content. The idea for PodNews came quite fittingly over a beer in Los Angeles. When a colleague asked where he got his podcast news, James realized there was no reliable source, so he built one. Now living in Brisbane with his wife, daughter, and their dog, he continues to report on the industry daily with dry humor, deep insight, and a famously strong opinion about cinnamon in beer. Does that sound about right?
Well, that's all the time we've got.
You know what? This is just a short part. I mean, your bio was so long that I said, okay, make me a summary of that. So deep search, it's not me. There's some things wrong, right? Something forgotten. What do you think about that?
That was all good. Very, very detailed.
Very detailed. Nothing to add on that. I think the first time we met, James, was in London. I think we were at Virgin Radio in mid 2005, maybe 2000, year 2000. So nothing missing in that presentation.
No.
Okay.
Gosh. Quite a lot of information there.
All right. So let's get personal. I believe it helps us better understand everything, backgrounds, personalities, and the choice we're making. My first question was, What kind of childhood did you have?
Wow, there's a question. I was trying to tell my wife about this the other day because I was sent to boarding school when I was 8, which seems very early to me, given that we have a daughter who's aged 12. That seems a very early time to send somebody away to a boarding school. But no. One of my first memories was I had a very cheap free radio that came with some breakfast cereal. So if you ate enough breakfast cereal, you could send off, and they would send you a radio. And it had Tony the Tiger on it from the Frosties thing. And and that was the first radio that I got. And I didn't want to listen to it for very long because I thought it's only got a certain amount of radio in it and it'll run out. And I don't want to listen to the same thing over and over again. I hadn't really understood how radio worked. I thought it was just a big recording. But that's sort of very much how I got into the audio world all the way back then.
You were that kind of young person that were recording PCs on then after later on the radio, record those recorders where you were taking piece of what you heard or not?
Yes, I was doing a little bit of recording of what the radio was doing and all of that. And, it used to be the thing that you would record the charts. So the chart show would be on a Sunday afternoon. It does seem as if it was specifically made so that you would sit there and record all of the songs. And if you knew where to hit the pause button, you could pretty well avoid any of Bruno Brooks, who was, doing the show at the time. So I was doing a fair amount of that sort of thing and playing radio at home and all of that. Yeah. So yes, that was a long, long time ago.
Are your parents still around?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I know that your mom is. You told me is reading French.
Yes. So they both speak French relatively well. My dad, I think, worked in the south of France for about a year or so. Speaks it relatively well. My mum reckons that she speaks it better. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll leave you I don't know if you had the latest podcast menu before.
Excellent.
So I'll give it to you for your memory. So let's do a little flashback by 15 years chunks. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what would the 15-year-old version of you, when you were 15 years old, think of the person you were at 30? So you're 15, you look at the guy, and it's yourself at 30. What the 15 years old think about the guy?
Voilà, c'est la fin de cette partie d'Alors là, Chapot, disponible gratuitement.
C'est déjà fini ?
Eh oui, c'est fini. Mais si vous désirez découvrir la suite de cet épisode, retrouvez-nous sur la lettre.pro/ALC en majuscule, ALC. Et souscrivez à un abonnement pour accéder à tous nos contenus.
Ah ben d'accord. Ben j'y vais alors.